There's not much time either.
No,
it's so you barely have time to go to the toilet. That's a real kind of luxury. It's our days are so pressured that kind of social visits are out of the question.
And it would bring nothing. I think it would bring nothing, because he doesn't see. He works like that, and I want to work too with him like that.
Yeah. I think if someone overheard a director and a cinematographer working, they'd think they were completely mad and talking mumbo jumbo, because after a certain amount of time, it does become this shorthand, and it doesn't really. It's so specific. It's so specific to that environment.
I think it may be worth thinking about the very early days of Greek cinema, when the cinematographers were the Menaki brothers, who were also the directors, but they're now celebrated as cinematographers, number one. So that's an interesting thought.
I think very often the artistic friendship, or it's overinterpreted if the film is a success. Because during you shoot, the director has, and I understand that very well, he just wants to be not disturbed. You have to give him enough freedom or free space that he can do his work, and he has an undisturbed concentration. In fact, was heißt Hebamme auf Englisch? You know,
nanny.
no, not nanny. You know, the woman who gives help to birth.
A midwife.
Midwife.
Yeah. So very often I've had as a midwife for the movie. No?
Yeah.
Share that experience. Yeah. The baby screams.
Yeah. Well, they say a director has to answer 5,000 questions a day or something like that. And, I mean, a cinematographer has to probably answer 500 if that's a number. And it's really true. I mean, if I've done both, and I've directed both, and I've been frustrated with directors because of their lack to focus in on everything. And if you've been in that position, you realize it's a lot. I mean, you have people coming up to you constantly. Every wardrobe issue, every so it becomes overwhelming, and it's our job to actually you don't want to present the director with more questions. It's your job really to be a good cinematographer is to be able to find what he's trying to, whether he can articulate it or not, to find what he's looking for, and to do things without necessarily involving him and taking away his time and his energy and bothering him with little things.
Also, Nigel, in answer to your question a little bit, I think there were definitely theories, especially from Tarkovsky and Bresson, about the idea of what is the one person that could make a film on their own and be the filmmaker is the cinematographer. But that's not the kind of films we kind of make and watch. So within the system of filmmaking that we all work in, it is a team effort, and you must love being part of the team, and you must love being at service to the film.
For example, at the Notebook, it was so important to protect the twins. That was the main goal for the whole shooting day. And because of course they were 13. You cannot border them with any technical problems. For the director.
I think it's on the point you said of one person doing something, like Kubrick, I know, started as a still photographer, and I think that's visible in his work, that the image and the composition, framing, that shows. So we have an example of someone like who starts from another end and goes to directing, which gives an interesting result. I don't know what your idea on that is. I think most of us like Kubrick's work, but what your thoughts are on how much the image plays a role in the total result of a film?
Well, it's a very big element, but it's important to understand, and that's why, again, having directed some, I think it's been very valuable for me, because once you're in the editing room or you go through the full process of making a film, which is starts with if it does with writing and then casting and the locations and then all the post and working with the mix and the music and you realize that sometimes as a cinematographer you think, okay, I'm in a way the master of the set, I'm running the crew, I'm moving the camera, and it seems like you're the dominant crew person, but if you've been through the whole process, you realize it's although a very important element, but it's certainly just one little element of filmmaking, and there's so many more balls that you have to juggle but again, some movies are, Kubrick movies, the visuals are a very dominant part of it, and he's obviously, you can tell he's a visual person, but once I had a discussion with Cassavetes about what beautiful photography is, and he had really no concept of it. It was, he said, I don't know, what do I do, do I cut to a sunset and then cut back to my actor, he didn't understand, like, the cinematographers, as a language, as something that supports the story and supports the performance. Of course, he captured it, and in a way, his photography was beautiful, but it's certainly, not driven by, compositions or aesthetics of lighting, and so it's appropriate for photography is the best. Whatever seems, to capture the emotions of that story you're telling, and it varies from picture to picture. That's why all movies, not every movie we do looks the same. Sometimes we have very refined classic lighting, sometimes we have, we use very natural, unflattering lighting. You have to
I think
find
the
that.
most dangerous thing is for a DOP to be in love with your pictures. That's really a risky thing, because it's overestimating or overvaluating what you're doing. And I think without a good director, we are all not there. And without a good story, of course, then it's important in the team and all together. And it's rare enough that it works, but it's not. You can't see it so isolated. Why nobody speaks, for example, about the sound man? For me, sound is at least the same power than an image. Nobody speaks about sound men. So I think you mentioned it before noon. We were the old navigators, we were the only one who are able to handle the sextant, I suppose. Yeah. And nobody else knew what to do and would have been lost without you. And today, each wardrobe girl comes and says, that color is not correct, what you did there, and the mask can't. If you depend on that importance, you're lost already.
And also, if you just have beautiful images, it can get really boring really fast. Some of the most beautiful movies. What is it that you think of that
Snow Falling on Cedars.
Yeah, Snow Falling on Cedars is probably one of the most beautifully photographed movies ever. But it's just doesn't.
Oh, unwatchable.
And if Lawrence of Arabia, if it wasn't for Peter O'Toole's face and his performance, it would be a super boring 3-hour movie. Cameron's writing in the desert.
I think the momentum is the script and the director, and we can support it. We can make it worse or better, but not replace it.
And one thing, with someone like Peter O'Toole and a performance like that, when we started Venus, we had all this kind of ideas of we'd stay wide and we'd be quite classical, etc. Day one, Peter comes on set, we do one shot, and Roger turns around to me and says, can you please bring the biggest fuck-off lens we have in the truck? I want that. And that's what you are supposed to do with an actor like that and a performance like that. So all your ideas go out the window, and all this kind of thought of images, etc., really disappear, and you become a servant of the story and the performance.
I mean, same on Nebraska. Actually, we had decided to play a lot of scenes in single shots and not really have coverage. I mean, not to the extent that Jim Jarmusch did on Stranger Than Paradise, but we really wanted a lot of scenes just to play out. And then the same thing with Bruce. I mean, we did the test and the hair makeup. I mean, just came and, you know, we went in and. But, you know, you also have to know when you can't just, you know, overuse them. I mean, people just cover scenes and just do close-ups all around and masters all around. You have to save those moments, and so when you do go in for a close-up, it really has impact, you know, it really has the power. And if you use close-ups all the time, and it just becomes another way of covering a scene, but, you know, you want to have selective, you know, you want to have those moments and use them only when you really, you know, when they have the power.
It's the need.
Yeah.
We have a lot of.
Hello. Two questions for me. The first one is for Mr. Papamichael. What drove you to shoot Nebraska in black and white?
Alexander always wanted to make a black and white movie, so that's the main reason. I always wanted to do a black and white movie, you know. But you know, this question has been asked so many times that there's really no answer to it except that we really wanted to do it. You know, we grew up, our cinema history, our language that we grew up with as filmmakers, Alexander and I were the same generation, where all the movies we like, I would say 80% of them are black and white movies, so why not, you know, in art, still photography, it's still very much in presence. Why would it not be in cinema? And, you know, from Kurosawa, he's a big Japanese film fan, and and then when we were told we couldn't do it in black and white, actually the movie got cancelled when he told the studio that he wants to do it in black and white, but they shut the movie down and went away, and I said to him, you know, you want me to do some tests? You know, I can do some tests where we desaturate, we show them, and he goes, no, but you told me you want to do it in black and white, and like, why are you saying this to me now? I go, well, now I feel bad, you don't have a movie anymore, it was gone, completely gone. And then luckily Descendants came out and it won some Oscars and they came back, but they came back at like 3 million. It was like greenlit, completely ready to go at 17 million, and then it went away for 4 months. And it came back, and I waited. I mean, I turned down Wolverine and like for a little movie that didn't even exist, and it came back, and it came back at 3 million. They go, we'll do it back in like 3 million, and then it slowly, like every time we won some award somewhere else, it came up a little bit. So it got back to 12, but we lost 5 million, which meant we went from 50 shooting days to 35 shooting days. But so it was important to us. But,
Thank you. And the second question: are film schools worth the money?
I don't think so. But I don't want to really. I tell people, look, it's important that you work, and it's important that you meet people, but you can form a group also. And I mean, I know people who spend $180,000 on film school. I'd rather make 10 movies with that money, and you can still form a group of friends, and then the other thing is you can watch a lot of movies. I mean, I'm surprised always to find out how few film students have seen the classics. I mean, it's like maybe not in Europe, but in America it's amazing. Like they haven't seen any Godard films, any Kurosawa, Fellini. They're not interested in them. So for maybe the kind of movies or where they want to go. I mean, a lot of them want to be work in commercials. They do as their graduation films. They do like spec commercials. They do like Coke commercials and stuff. So it's not bad. It's not everybody has to be do art films and that nobody sees.
film school is not depending on art films or vice versa.